The sleek alien observation ship hung silently in Earth's orbit, its advanced cloaking systems making it invisible to human detection. Inside, Captain Davis of the Galactic Federation's First Contact Division watched the screens with growing disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered, his four eyes blinking in rapid succession. "Play that footage again." The holographic display showed a human rescue team working in the aftermath of a devastating earthquake. The temperature was well below freezing, yet the humans worked tirelessly for hours, lifting concrete blocks that should have been too heavy for their frames, surviving in conditions that would have killed most species in the Federation. "Sir, you need to see this too," his science officer Tom called out, bringing up another video feed. This one showed humans diving into the ocean depths with primitive breathing apparatus, working on underwater structures at pressures that would crush most sentient beings. The more they watched, the more disturbed the alien crew became. They saw humans running for hours under the burning sun, fighting fires in toxic smoke, and even surviving serious injuries that would have been fatal to any Federation species. "These creatures," Davis said, addressing his crew, "are clearly in need of our protection. Look at how they struggle against their harsh world. It's our duty to guide them into the galactic community." If only he knew how wrong he was. The Federation's contact team chose what they thought was a perfect moment. A small gathering of world leaders at a climate conference. Their ship, grand and impressive by Federation standards, descended from the clouds in a display of lights and technology meant to awe the primitive humans. Davis stepped out, flanked by his crew, all wearing protective suits against what they assumed was a toxic atmosphere. After all, how could any species survive breathing such high levels of oxygen and nitrogen? "People of Earth," he announced through the translation matrix, his voice gentle and patronizing, "we come to welcome you under the protection of the Galactic Federation. We have observed your struggles and wish to help you survive your harsh world." The humans stared at them silently. Then, something unexpected happened. Someone in the crowd laughed. "Protect us." A human diplomat stepped forward, showing no fear of the aliens. "That's very kind, but I think there's been a misunderstanding." Davis blinked in confusion. This wasn't how primitive species usually reacted. Where was the awe? The gratitude? "To demonstrate our goodwill," Davis continued, "we offer you this gift. A controlled environment dome for one of your cities. It will shield you from your world's extreme conditions." Now more humans were laughing. The diplomat smiled politely. "While we appreciate the offer, we're quite comfortable here. In fact, we've been meaning to expand beyond Earth. Perhaps we could discuss trade and cultural exchange instead." Davis felt a chill run down his spine. These humans wanted to go into space. In their current state, it would be irresponsible to allow it. They needed at least a century of Federation guidance first. "I'm afraid space travel is too dangerous for your species at this time," Davis said firmly. "We've seen how vulnerable you are to your own environment. For your own safety, we must insist on a period of protection and development." The temperature in the room seemed to drop. The human diplomat's smile vanished, replaced by something that made Davis's protective suit feel very thin indeed. "Must insist." The human's voice was quiet but carried an edge that even the translation matrix couldn't miss. "I don't think you understand humanity very well, Captain Davis. We've been exploring our harsh world for thousands of years. We've climbed our highest mountains, dived our deepest oceans, and even walked on our moon with technology we built ourselves." The humans around him stood straighter, their expressions hardening. For the first time, Davis noticed something his observation team had missed. These supposedly fragile beings moved like predators. "Perhaps," the diplomat continued, "you should study us more carefully before making assumptions about what we can and cannot handle." Davis would later report this moment as the beginning of the Federation's greatest diplomatic mistake. They had come to protect humanity from the galaxy. They should have been warning the galaxy about humanity instead. The Federation's attempt to protect humanity turned into their worst nightmare within weeks. It started when they left behind a damaged shuttle as a gesture of goodwill, thinking the primitive humans could learn basic Federation technology from it. They expected the learning process to take decades. It took 3 days for human engineers to take the shuttle apart completely. In a hidden facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. James and his team worked around the clock, studying every piece of alien technology. What amazed them wasn't just the advanced nature of the tech, it was how inefficient it was. "Look at this," Dr. James said to the military observers, holding up a piece of the alien engine. "They're using complex materials to shield against radiation that humans can naturally resist. They're over-engineering solutions to problems we don't even have." The Federation's surveillance ships watched in growing horror as humans began testing their own versions of Federation technology. Within a month, the first human-made anti-gravity device was operational. By the second month, they had working prototypes of Federation energy shields. But what truly terrified the Federation was how humans improved everything they touched. "This cannot be allowed to continue," Captain Davis argued in an emergency Federation Council meeting. "These humans are advancing too rapidly. They're like nothing we've ever encountered." The Council agreed. They sent a fleet of ships to establish a blockade around Earth, meant to contain humanity until they could be properly civilized. They didn't expect the humans to already have countermeasures. When the Federation ships arrived, they found their advanced sensors confused by simple radio waves broadcast at specific frequencies. Their sophisticated shield systems struggled against primitive but effective nuclear-tipped missiles. Most surprisingly, their atmosphere containment fields were useless against human ships that didn't need them. "Sir," a Federation officer reported nervously, "the humans are conducting spacewalks without full environmental suits. They're only wearing minimal protection. This shouldn't be possible." In what became known as the 2-hour war, humanity demonstrated exactly why they didn't need protection. Human ships, cobbled together from stolen Federation tech and Earth's existing space program, moved with a speed and aggression that shocked the alien observers. "Their pilots are pulling maneuvers that would kill any of our species," another officer reported, his voice shaking. "The G-forces alone." But what really changed the Federation's understanding was the boarding action on their command ship. Human soldiers, wearing what the Federation considered grossly inadequate protection, cut through the hull and invaded. The Federation crew watched in horror as these primitive beings shrugged off weapon hits that should have been fatal, kept fighting with injuries that would have incapacitated any other species, and demonstrated strength that seemed impossible for their size. "You don't understand what you're dealing with," the human commander told the captured Federation captain. "Earth isn't a death world because it's trying to kill us. It's a death world because it made us strong enough to survive anywhere." The Federation's scientists finally began proper research into Earth's history. What they found stunned them. Humans had evolved on a planet with higher gravity than most civilized worlds. They had survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, and countless natural disasters. Their bodies could process foods that would be toxic to most species, repair damage that would be fatal to others, and adapt to conditions that should be impossible to survive. They weren't primitives who needed protection. They were survival specialists shaped by one of the harshest cradles of life ever discovered. The Federation Council received a simple message from Earth's governments: "Remove your blockade, or we'll remove it ourselves. Then let's talk about real cooperation." Looking at the data showing how quickly humans had mastered and improved Federation technology, and having witnessed their natural abilities firsthand, the Council made the wisest decision they could. They withdrew their ships and formally apologized to Earth. It was the first time in Federation history that they had admitted a mistake. It wouldn't be the last lesson humanity taught them. At the Grand Archive of the Galactic Federation, reports about humans began piling up from every corner of space. The chief archivist, Master Blake, could barely keep up with the flood of information. Each new document seemed more unbelievable than the last. "Play Incident Report 47B. Blake commanded his computer terminal. The holographic display flickered to life, showing security footage from a space station near the Orient sector. The video showed a human maintenance worker getting sucked out through a hull breach. According to all known biological science, he should have died instantly. Instead, the human tucked himself into a ball, used a wrench to push off a piece of debris, and guided himself back to the emergency airlock. He survived in the vacuum of space for almost 2 minutes. Play Incident 89C, Blake said, his 4 tentacles trembling slightly. The new footage showed a mining accident on a high-gravity planet. A human miner lifted a collapsed support beam that weighed over 600 kilos, holding it up long enough for others to escape. The Federation's scientists still couldn't explain how the human's bones didn't shatter under the strain. More reports kept coming in. A human diplomat drinking deadly poison at a peace conference, thinking it was a welcome drink. Instead of dying, she just got a mild stomach ache and complimented the interesting cocktail. A human ship captain surviving radiation exposure that would have killed any other known species, then joking about getting a nice tan from it. A group of human tourists swimming in acid lakes on a resort planet, apparently finding the burning sensation refreshing and comparing it to something called hot springs on Earth. The stories are spreading across the galaxy, Admiral Lee reported at an emergency Federation Council meeting. The other species are starting to panic. They're calling humans space orcs and Dithworlders. Surely these reports are exaggerated, one council member protested. The Admiral shook his head. I wish they were. Last week, we had a situation at the Federation Academy. A human student fell down 30 floors during an anti-gravity failure. Instead of dying, he rolled when he hit the ground, stood up, and asked if anyone wanted to get lunch. The council chamber erupted in frightened whispers. These weren't just isolated incidents anymore. Every interaction with humans seemed to reveal new, terrifying capabilities. A science team studying human biology released their findings, and the results sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Humans could survive in radiation levels that would kill most species, heal from injuries that would be fatal to others, function in gravity ranges that should crush their bones, process toxins that would destroy any other known digestive system, continue fighting even when severely injured. Most disturbing of all, the lead scientist reported, is their ability to improve through trauma. When humans survive difficult conditions, they become stronger. Their bodies adapt. Their bones get denser. Their muscles become more efficient. They're constantly evolving, even as adults. The Federation's military leaders began reviewing their defense protocols. How do you protect against a species that treats lethal environments as minor inconveniences? At a diplomatic reception, a human ambassador overheard some of the worried conversations. You know, she said, sipping her drink, which was toxic to every other species present, there's a simple reason we're so hard to kill. The alien diplomats moved back slightly, but curiosity won over fear. Why? One asked. Because Earth tried to kill us for millions of years, she smiled. Our planet has everything that could hurt a living being. Extreme temperatures, natural disasters, deadly predators, toxic plants, shifting continents, and rapidly changing environments. We didn't just survive it all. We thrived. Space. Space is easy compared to a typical Earth summer. The report of that conversation spread quickly through Federation space. It wasn't just human bodies that were incredibly resilient. Their entire psychology was shaped by surviving conditions that would have killed most species in their evolutionary phase. The galaxy was beginning to understand. Humans weren't just another spacefaring race. They were the ultimate survivors, shaped by a world that made them ready for anything the universe could throw at them. And the universe was right to be afraid. The Federation's worst fears came true on what became known as Liberation Day. Humanity launched their first fleet of FTL ships, but these weren't crude copies of Federation technology. They were something entirely new. Those can't be human ships, Captain Wilson of the Federation blockade said, staring at his sensor readings. They're too advanced. But they were human ships, While the Federation had worried about humans copying their technology, humanity had been busy improving it. The sleek vessels that rose from Earth's atmosphere were smaller than Federation ships, but packed with innovations that made the alien observers' jaws drop. "Sir, their ships don't have any life support redundancies," a sensor operator reported in confusion. "In fact, some sections don't have life support at all." "What do you mean they don't have life support?" Wilson demanded. "They don't need it," another officer realized with growing horror. "Their crews can survive even if the systems fail." The human ships proved this point minutes later when the battle began. The Federation fired warning shots, expecting to force the humans back to Earth. Instead, the human ships scattered in movements so aggressive that their crews should have been crushed by the G-forces. "How are they moving like that?" Wilson shouted as a human ship pulled a turn that would have liquefied any Federation crew. "Their inertial dampeners can't be that good." "They aren't using dampeners," the science officer replied, voice shaking. "The humans are just taking the G-forces." What followed wasn't just a battle. It was a demonstration. Human ships deliberately vented their atmosphere to perform impossible maneuvers. When Federation weapons struck their targets, human crew members simply sealed their suits and kept fighting in the vacuum. Even damaged ships refused to retreat, their crews repairing systems in conditions that would have killed any other species. "Their engineers are working in depressurized sections," a Federation observer reported. "They're welding hull breaches from the outside, without proper protection." In space, the Federation's advanced shields proved useless against human tactics. The Earth ships would deliberately take hits to get close, then launch boarding parties. The sight of humans flying through space with minimal protection, using handheld thrusters to navigate between ships, sent panic through the Federation ranks. "Fall back," Wilson ordered as humans cut through his ship's hull. "All ships, emergency retreat." But the humans had learned from the Federation's previous visits. They had developed engine disruption weapons that stranded the alien ships in Earth orbit. The Federation crews could only watch as humans breached their hulls and stormed their bridges. Commander Jack, leading the human forces, walked onto the Federation flagship's bridge, still wearing his minimal spacesuit, his helmet tucked under his arm, despite the warnings about toxic atmospheres. "You know," he said to the captured Federation captain, breathing the alien air without difficulty, "you could have just let us join peacefully." The Federation's humiliation was complete when they discovered what the humans had done to their technology. Human engineers had stripped away the redundancies and safety systems that Federation ships required, replacing them with simple, efficient solutions that only worked because humans could survive their failure. "Look at this," a Federation engineer said, examining a captured human ship. "They've removed the radiation shielding from their engine core. They're using the excess energy for weapons. The radiation leak would kill our crews in minutes, but the humans just ignore it." The human ships had other modifications that terrified the Federation. Emergency systems designed to work without power. Manual overrides for everything. Repair access through vacuum zones. Combat systems that relied on human reflexes and strength. Backup systems that were just humans doing things manually. When the Federation Council received the after-action report, they finally understood. They hadn't just underestimated human technology. They had underestimated humanity's ability to turn their natural resilience into a military advantage. The message from Earth was simple. The blockade is over. Humanity is joining the galactic community as equals, not protected children. Any objections? Looking at the footage of humans casually working in environments that would kill most species instantly, the Federation had only one rational response. They agreed to humanity's terms. The space pirates of the Crimson Nebula thought they had found an easy target. The human colony on New Eden was small, isolated, and seemingly vulnerable. Their leader, Captain Stone, had raided dozens of alien settlements before. This would be no different. He was very, very wrong. "Sir, scanners show minimal defenses," his first mate reported as their fleet approached the colony. Just a small shield generator and a few gun emplacements. Stone smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Perfect. Disable their communications and begin the landing sequence. The pirates didn't realize their scans had missed something crucial. They hadn't detected any defenses because the humans themselves were the defense. The first sign of trouble came when the pirates landed. The colony's gravity was twice that of their home world, but the humans moved through it like it was nothing. The pirates struggled to lift their weapons while human defenders ran at them, carrying heavy mining equipment as if it weighed nothing. "Fall back," Stone ordered as he watched a human farmer lift an entire hover truck to use as cover. "Get to higher ground." But higher ground didn't help. The humans had trained in their colony's harsh environment. They scaled cliffs that should have been impossible to climb, moved through toxic swamp gases that would kill most species, and showed no fear of the pirates' superior numbers. "They're not wearing environmental protection," one of Stone's officers screamed over the comm. "They're breathing the raw air." Fighting in untreated sunlight. The pirates' advanced weapons proved less effective than expected. Wounds that would incapacitate any other species merely seemed to make the humans angry. Stone watched in horror as a human colonist took a plasma bolt to the shoulder, growled something about just a flesh wound, and proceeded to throw a mining drill through his attacker's ship hull. "Sir, they're adapting to our tactics," his tactical officer reported frantically. "Every time we wound one, the others learned from it. They're getting stronger." The final straw came when the humans started using the environment against them. They led pirates into quicksand pits, through fields of static electricity that shorted out their equipment, and into areas where the local wildlife seemed to work with the humans. Stone's command center received desperate messages from his troops. "They're coming through the walls. The gravity's crushing my bones, but they're just running. One of them is eating our emergency rations. Those are toxic to every known species. They're throwing rocks." Rocks. Do you know how strong you have to be to throw rocks in this gravity? The retreat turned into a rout. The pirates fled back to their ships, pursued by humans who seemed to view the whole thing as good exercise. Several pirates swore they heard humans laughing as they ran. Word spread quickly through the criminal underworld. Don't raid human colonies. It's not worth it. But the story didn't end there. Days later, the pirates' home base received an unexpected message from New Eden's governor. "While we appreciate the entertainment you provided our colonists with their first real combat drill, we feel obligated to inform you that raiding settlements is both illegal and dangerous. We're willing to overlook this incident if you agree to take our basic safety course for interstellar relations." The pirates learned that the basic safety course was human code for "let us teach you how not to get yourself killed in space." To their surprise, the humans were genuinely interested in helping them survive. "Look," a human instructor told Stone's crew, "space is dangerous enough without adding piracy to the mix. If you're going to travel between stars, at least learn how to do it safely." The experience changed Stone's entire operation. His crew became legitimate traders, specializing in rescue operations in dangerous zones. After all, who better to learn survival skills from than the species that treated death worlds as vacation spots? When asked why they helped their former attackers, the governor of New Eden simply shrugged. "Everyone deserves a chance to learn. Besides, watching them try to adapt to our gravity was the best entertainment we've had since establishing the colony." The story spread, adding to humanity's growing reputation. They weren't just incredibly tough. They were tough enough to treat hardship as a teaching opportunity. The galaxy began to realize that humanity's real strength wasn't just their physical capabilities. It was their attitude toward survival itself. The Federation's top research facility, Deep Space Lab 7, buzzed with activity. Scientists from 100 different species gathered to study the most fascinating subject in the galaxy, Earth itself. Dr. Ray, the human representative, watched with amusement as his alien colleagues tried to process the data they were collecting. "Their sensors must be wrong," they kept saying. "Nothing could be this extreme. Please repeat those readings." The lead alien scientist asked for the third time. The data is correct, Dr. Ray confirmed, sipping his coffee. A drink that would paralyze most other species. Earth really does experience all those conditions simultaneously. The holographic display showed Earth's incredible range of environments. Temperatures from -60 to +50 degrees Celsius in habitable zones. Atmospheric pressure variations that would crush most species. Gravity strong enough to make most alien life forms collapse. Radiation levels that should prevent complex life. Chemical combinations that would be lethal anywhere else. But how do you survive? Asked a scientist from a world of perpetual spring. These conditions should make evolution impossible. Dr. Ray smiled. That's exactly why we survived. Earth didn't give us one challenge. It gave us all of them. We adapted to everything. The research team's findings shocked the galactic community. First, they discovered that Earth's gravity had made humans into natural superbeings. Their bones were impossibly dense, their muscles incredibly efficient. What humans considered normal movement would be Olympic-level athletics for most species. Watch this, Dr. Ray demonstrated, casually jumping 2 meters high in the lab's Earth normal gravity. His alien colleagues needed mechanical assistance just to stand. Second, they found that Earth's atmospheric composition should be toxic. Humans had evolved to breathe what most species considered poison and could filter out harmful particles that would kill others instantly. You mean you breathe oxidizers? One scientist asked in horror, voluntarily. We get headaches if we don't, Dr. Ray replied. Third, they realized Earth's temperature variations had given humans incredible adaptability. While other species needed environmental suits for small temperature changes, humans could survive and function in ranges that seemed impossible. The team documented humans swimming in near-freezing water, working in desert heat that would cook most aliens, sleeping through storms that would terrify other species, eating foods that would be classified as weapons on other worlds. But the most disturbing discovery came when they studied human cellular structure. Unlike every other known species, human cells could repair radiation damage, adapt to toxins, and become stronger after stress. They're not just surviving, one scientist reported nervously. They're using what should kill them to become stronger. The evidence was undeniable. Earth was more than a death world. It was a forge. Every challenge that should have prevented life had instead created something unprecedented. A species that treated deadly conditions as minor inconveniences. Consider this, Dr. Ray explained to the stunned research team. Everything on Earth evolved to kill something else. Our plants release toxins. Our animals are living weapons. Our weather tries to destroy us. Our very air is corrosive. And humans, we treat it all as normal. The final report to the Federation Council was clear. Humanity's mighty reputation wasn't about technology, training, or special abilities. It was simply the natural result of evolving on a world that never stopped trying to kill them. That's when the Council finally understood their greatest mistake. They had thought Earth was a primitive death world that humans needed to be protected from. In reality, Earth was an evolutionary crucible that had created the galaxy's ultimate survivors. Everything that made humans seemingly unstoppable. Their strength, their adaptability, their ability to survive anywhere, was just their natural state. The Council's new policy was simple. Don't protect humans from harsh conditions. Instead, ask humans to teach others how to survive them. As Dr. Ray told his colleagues, Earth didn't make us mighty. It made us ready for anything the universe could throw at us. And now, we're happy to share those lessons, if you're tough enough to learn them. 10 years after the first contact, the Galactic Federation's Grand Assembly Hall looked very different. Human architects had redesigned it so all species could attend, regardless of their environmental needs. The sight of humans casually walking through different atmospheric chambers without protection still made other species nervous. Today was special. The Federation was voting on making Earth the galaxy's official survival training center. The evidence is clear, Admiral Ray addressed the assembly. The same human who had once explained Earth's deadly nature to terrified scientists now stood as humanity's ambassador. Earth isn't just a death world. It's the ultimate training ground. The hall screen showed footage that would have caused panic years ago, but now inspired awe. Alien diplomats learning to swim in Earth's oceans, Federation troops training in the Sahara Desert, scientists studying Earth's wildlife, survival classes in the Arctic. Remember when you all thought we needed protection? Ray smiled. Now you send your best people to Earth to become stronger. The changes in the galaxy over the past decade had been remarkable. Human survival techniques had revolutionized space exploration. Their methods of adapting to harsh environments had opened up countless worlds for colonization. Last month, Ray continued, a Federation ship survived a complete system failure near the Crystal Nebula. Their crew used human techniques to survive for 3 weeks without power. 5 years ago, everyone aboard would have died. The assembly murmured in agreement. Similar stories were becoming common. A mining colony surviving a toxic gas leak using human breathing methods. Explorers escaping a gravity well by copying human muscle techniques. Rescue teams working in radiation zones using human protection strategies. Colonists adapting to extreme weather using human building designs. But humanity's greatest contribution wasn't their techniques. It was their attitude toward survival itself. The thing about humans, a Federation training instructor explained to his class, is that they never accepted that something was impossible to survive. They just figured out how to survive it. Earth had become the galaxy's premier training destination. Species from across space came to test themselves against the planet that had forged humanity. The results transformed the Federation. Troops became tougher. Ships became more efficient. Colonies became more resilient. Exploration became safer. Even the pirates who had once raided human colonies now worked as survival instructors, teaching others how to thrive in space's harshest environments. Humanity's gift to the galaxy, Ray told the assembly, isn't our strength. It's our understanding that strength comes from facing challenges, not avoiding them. The vote was unanimous. Earth was officially recognized as the Federation's Advanced Survival Training Center. But more importantly, the galaxy's view of humanity had completely changed. The phrase "as tough as a human" became the highest compliment in space. Species that had once feared humanity's might now send their children to Earth to learn how to be stronger. In the training facilities scattered across Earth, scenes played out that would have seemed impossible a decade ago. Alien students jogging in high gravity. Federation officials eating spicy Earth food. Diplomats learning to swim. Scientists studying Earth animals in their natural habitats. You know what's funny? Ray said to a group of alien trainees struggling with Earth's gravity, 10 years ago, you thought we were scary because we could survive anything. Now you know the truth. We survived because we were never afraid to try. The galaxy had finally understood. Humanity's real power wasn't that they were unstoppable. It was that they had never accepted being stopped. A young alien student, finishing his first day of Earth training, summed it up perfectly. I used to fear humans because they seemed too strong to be natural. Now I admire them because they show us how to find our own strength. As night fell over the training grounds, humans and aliens sat together, sharing stories and meals that would kill untrained species. The fear was gone, replaced by respect and understanding. Humanity had proven that being mighty didn't mean being feared. Sometimes, it meant teaching others how to be mighty too.